January 2026 has been a busy month for the Microsoft certifications team, and it looks like even more new certifications are coming. But the one we'll talk about today is not about IT professionals or security professionals. It's a special one. It's for business users. Now, if we take a step back, in November 2025, Microsoft has launched its first ever business user-focused credentials, the AI Business Professional and the AI Transformation Leader certifications, and they are still in beta as of the time I'm recording this video. But it was still a first for the certification portfolio. But today, it seems like that portfolio will get even bigger in the near future with a brand new certification called Cybersecurity for Business Professionals. Okay, so in this video, we will cover everything that we know so far about the certification. We will learn the target audience for the certification, what are the proposed skills covered for this certification, and then we will share what's next, and of course, my take on this new cert. Let's get started. So first of all, the first steps for this certification actually started 5 months ago. If we look at this post on the tech community, we had the security skilling manager for Microsoft ask on tech community, what did people think about Microsoft certification for cybersecurity, but for business professionals, not for IT pros or security people. This certification, and it says it in there, would not be as exhaustive as our technical certifications. It would be uniquely targeting the business and end user audience. When that got posted in August, remember that Microsoft didn't launch their business user portfolio then, so it was very interesting, and most of the feedback in the thread was positive, but many people didn't really see where that fit in. However, now in January 2026, Microsoft did some solid progress on that certification, so let's share the details. Let's start with the target audience as written by Microsoft. This exam is intended for business users who rely on digital tools and connected systems to perform their daily tasks, but they are not dedicated security professionals. Those individuals work in roles such as administrative staff, analysts, project managers, marketers, and salespeople. Their primary focus is business productivity and collaboration, yet they regularly handle sensitive data and interact across networks, making them prime targets for cyber threats. Candidates for this exam should have foundational knowledge and practical skills in cybersecurity awareness, privacy protection, and incident response. They are expected to understand basic security concepts and apply simple, role-relevant practices to reduce risks and maintain compliance. So, as you can see here, Microsoft is really pushing the fact that this is for business users, not IT professionals or security specialists. In addition to this, Microsoft shared a few more details about the characteristics of this audience. First of all, they frequently use computers, mobile devices, cloud services, and collaboration platforms to access, share, and store information. They also do not have a technical background and only limited formal training in cybersecurity. However, their expertise lies in business processes rather than IT or security operations. Those users regularly handle sensitive data and communicate across networks, often unaware of potential cyber risks, and they are accountable for safeguarding personal and organizational information in compliance with company policies. Now, personally, I feel like Microsoft providing those audience characteristics is a bit too much information here. I mean, people that frequently use computers all of us at this point in life, everybody's on a computer or a mobile device. I guess they really wanted to make their point that this is not an IT professional certification, and they want to encourage everybody to go take it. That's my feeling at this point, but let's move on. So Microsoft so far has proposed 4 main skills measured for this exam, and they are understand cybersecurity concepts, understand cybersecurity risks and threats, apply basic security practices to protect the organization, and report and respond to security incidents. Okay, those are pretty high level, so let's head over in my browser over here and take a look at those more in detail. Okay, so I'm in my browser here. This is the blueprint that Microsoft shared, which gives us a lot of that information. At the top, you have the target audience and the characteristics. We already talked about this, but what I want you to focus here is really on the left side of the screen. So at the top, we have our big bucket. So at the top here, we have our skill measured. So understand cybersecurity concepts, and then we have the details. So explain roles and responsibilities in cybersecurity, including explain the cybersecurity shared responsibility model, identify activities that demonstrate employee participation in security awareness initiatives within an organization, describe accountability practices, identify activities that enhance security. I guess the most technical thing here is the cybersecurity shared responsibility model, but it does make sense for business users to understand what's the role of the user and the company versus the role of the cloud provider. Let's move on. Apply simple organizational policies and data handling standard. Include understand security and privacy policies applicable to work tasks, identify types of data that should not be shared with AI tools. So even if it's a cybersecurity cert, there's AI in there. I guess today that makes sense. I cannot disagree with that. Describe the benefits of using a password manager to protect credential. I love it so far. Honestly, this is really good. I'm not sure that I like the title of this, apply simple organizational policies, because you're not actually creating, or I guess you're following them. So that makes sense now. Okay, let's move on. Describe security benefits and risk awareness, including describe the security benefits of using MFA, identify business processes that may be targeted or infiltrated by adversaries, describe the risks of working in a remote environment, understand the importance of required software updates and security patches, describe the impact of security events such as ransomware. This makes a lot of sense. So far for me, I think this is all important. Define cybersecurity concepts and emerging threats, including define the terms vulnerability, threat, risk, encryption, and exploit, and describe what deepfakes are. It's really interesting that I see Microsoft is, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, they're merging like the old threats that we had, like ransomware. And I'm not saying old, they don't happen anymore, but the traditional one with brand new and emerging threats like deepfakes and things like that. And, probably the CEO calling, asking you for a $500 gift card. So I do like where this certification is going. And you see a lot of the stuff is at the describe verb. That's why I don't think I like apply over here as a verb, because everything else is identify and describe, which makes sense for a foundational certification. But so far, I like it. Let's move on. Understand cybersecurity risks and threats. Identify common cybersecurity risks, including describe the risks associated with using public Wi-Fi networks, describe psychological social engineering techniques such as phishing, pretexting, and baiting. Wow, it's really funny. And I guess it makes sense. Those are all important. I kind of wish, a lot of people would study on those and take the certification. So I guess if I feel like that, Microsoft did a really, really good job. And I do see where a lot of this doesn't really make sense for IT professionals to take it. Not as much, but does it make sense for IT professionals to force everybody to go study for the certification and take it? Absolutely so far. Detect indicators of malicious activity, including identity indicators of malware, identify potential indicators of insider threats, describe abnormal system behavior or infection symptoms. Okay, this one is a bit tougher, like it's important, don't get me wrong, but some of them, identify potential indicators of insider threats. We're blurring the line there a bit with compliance and what is an insider threat. Should you report to HR if you think John Smith is copying stuff on a USB key? That's what they might be talking about. And I guess, that's something that business users should keep an eye out for, because it could impact the company. Evaluate and verify digital communications, including identify suspicious emails and malicious links and unexpected attachments, 100%. Identify potential privacy and security risks. Verify the legitimacy of requests for access, payments, or sensitive data. Makes a lot of sense here. Apply access controls, including identify appropriate controls to limit access to systems and data. I'm not sure about this one because I'm not sure how much power a business user has to actually, identifying those appropriate controls to limit the access, because usually it's the security operator or IT professional that will create them, and the business user simply respects them. Let's move on here to the last one. Apply basic security practices to protect the organization. Understand the basics of securing devices, accounts, and workspaces, including understand the basics of securing remote and mobile devices and workspaces, including strong passwords, multi-factor authentication, and more. Makes a lot of sense. So understanding the basics, why they're valuable, where the IT people bugging you to change your password or apply MFA, really important. Understand how to protect sensitive and proprietary data, including recognize and classify sensitive data. Understand the different types of document sensitivity labeling and when to apply each. Understand rights management. So I absolutely love this. However, one of my problems is, understand the different types of document sensitivity labeling and when to apply each sometimes is so company specific, right? Because every company, confidential, secret, top secret, super confidential, each company has a different name for their labels and what do they actually mean in their specific context. So overall, applying sensitivity labels, great, absolutely needed, but when to apply each, that gets kind of company specific. So I'm not sure how Microsoft is going to evaluate that. Okay, understand safe internet and data handling practices, including apply proper data handling techniques, understand how to collect, use, transfer, store, retain, and destroy data. I feel like this is going a bit too far, should a business user really be thinking at when to destroy data, or should that retention policy already be applied to them by an admin and it be automatic? Not sure about this one. Understand backup and recovery measures, including understand how to ensure that data is backed up to support recovery from incidents, identify and follow basic recovery measures for data loss or system issues. Again, I feel like it's the IT pros or security specialists who usually just configure that. End user just needs to understand that it's happening, and they need to understand why it's important that it's happening. But identify and follow basic recovery measures, you don't have that business user, at least, as described in the target audience by Microsoft, go and restore their own machine from whatever cloud backup. It's the IT pro that will do it for them. So this might go a bit too far for the target audience that Microsoft described, in my opinion. Report security incidents and policy violations, including identify situations that require reporting, like a phishing attempt, lost device, unauthorized access. Select the correct information to include in a report, including date, type of incident, affected data, and choose the appropriate recording channel. Is it email, help desk, incident form? 100% this is amazing. And I think IT professionals will be thrilled when users make better requests and help this ticket. So that's a win for everybody. Take appropriate action during data breaches. We hope that never happens, but we all know that it probably will at some point in your career, including follow basic steps when a breach occurs. So for example, stop sharing data, disconnect device, notify IT, and recognize when escalation is required, like sensitive data exposure and ransomware. You know what's really funny that I looked through all of this? There's not one single Microsoft product mentioned. So this really seems to be like a very generic cybersecurity certification, almost moving into, like a Tech Plus that CompTIA does, which is vendor neutral, but like a mini security plus or cybersecurity plus that doesn't seem to be Microsoft specific. It seems to be very vendor agnostic, which is kind of a first for a Microsoft certification that I didn't see any Microsoft products mentioned. Now, are we going to get those Microsoft products mentioned when the certification rolls in and things like that? We'll have yet to see, but so far it looks very vendor agnostic. So now that you've seen all the details, what's your take on this potential new certification? Personally, I think it's awesome, really. Anything to get business users motivated to learn more about cybersecurity is a good thing. So Microsoft doing the certification is really great. Now, based on the objectives, I don't really see this being interesting for IT pros or security professionals to take. However, I really see that the security IT ops department will motivate their business users to go take this certification. So I do see the certification becoming really, really popular. My biggest surprise was really about how no Microsoft product was mentioned. We'll see if that remains during the exam, but still, I'm sure it will be a very popular one. But what I want right now is I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Is this a certification you found useful? Is it something you plan to take, or is it something that you plan to add it to your learning plan so users in your company go take it? Or a funny question, do you think people in your family at home that you keep having to do tech support for, we know we love them, but you all know who I'm talking about. Do you want to encourage them to learn about the certification and then go take it? So this way they don't fall for the same problems over and over again. So if you found this useful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and on the screen right about now, you'll see more Microsoft certification news. And if you're an IT pro, go check out the SC-900, that one's for you. But I hope to see you in the next video.